Hi, welcome back to the railroad. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit this time about Alfreds, farm equipment and hot rod parts. Now, Larry Alfred lives here in Kansas City. It's one of the railroaders that I kind of hang out with a couple of times a week at our railroad lunches. And one thing I've tried to do around the railroad is I've tried to put in cars that I've had over the years since I was 16 or so. Anyway, over here though, I kind of varied a little bit. This black Corvette over here is Larry's, and the Lotus was mine. Back when I got back from Vietnam, I always wanted a Lotus, so I bought a Lotus Europa back in '74. So those two cars are sitting here on the railroad, and we've got a newer Ford pickup there kind of in front. But anyway, those cars are in the side parking lot. This is a Menards building, and I didn't do really much of anything to it except I added some of the people and the scale down here on the end, the barrel, and I added the box here. Menards always has a dog, a German Shepherd, sitting on the front porch. I didn't take him off. This building is kind of unique because over on the far side over here, it has a fan turning, kind of a slow rate, but that's what they would have done probably to ventilate it. And I didn't really do too much here to modify this structure except add a little weathering here and there to kind of maybe make it look a little bit more weathered. But other than that, the lighting and everything on it was pretty much complete. However, on the back side over here behind the building, I did put in another one of my fenced areas where they kind of threw some parts and some old junk in. Sometimes that happens behind parts departments or parts suppliers. And otherwise, I've tried to take some ground foam and put it along here. It doesn't exist much underneath. It's more sand underneath there because it wouldn't get sun. So you don't want to put grass in places where they don't get the sun. And then the other thing I want to talk about is this parking lot. So if we look at the parking lots, I like to make them out of styrene. So this is made out of 20,000 styrene, and I've taken some thin styrene here. I think this is probably 60 thousandths by 40 thousandths, which gives me about a 3-inch or 4-inch curb, excuse me, in O scale. And I painted all that up. And then you may notice that I have, in occasions, some cracks and crevices, and I have the automatic expansion joints drawn in here. I learned from Bob Lundy, who did own DPM models before he sold it to Will & Phoenix, and he uses a 0.5 millimeter pencil to draw his cracks and expansion joints and whatever in. And I think it's a fantastic way to do it. If you don't like it, then you can come back and erase it and do it again. And then I always take some dirt that I get out from the front yard. I sift it through some really fine seines that I bought again at an antique store. And I get that down to where it's just powder. And I take my hand and I just rub it on here and rub it into the paint so that it looks like the concrete has been there a long time and it's well weathered. So other than that, that's pretty much what we did here on this scene. Didn't modify this commercial building much. The only thing I did do was I changed all of the signage to read Alfred's Farm and Hot Rod Parts. And Larry's a pretty sophisticated engineer, but I thought the farm parts would be kind of cool because he's also used to be a drag racer back in the day when he was in high school and college. So that's why I put the hot rod parts on there. But the only thing I've done to this building essentially is change the signs here that anybody would see as they come up. But it's a nice way to put a remembrance of somebody that you really care about on your railroad. So until we meet the next time, go down to your railroad room and let your trains put a smile on your face.